Beware, 5 types of enablers who empower narcissistic behavior. Narcissistic enablers are people who enable the narcissist in their life to continue their toxic behavior by either actively or passively supporting them. These enablers can be family members, friends, coworkers, or even mental health professionals who enable the narcissist by failing to hold them accountable for their actions or by dismissing their negative behavior. It's important to identify and watch out for these types of narcissistic enablers in order to protect yourself from the harmful effects of narcissistic behavior. In this video, we will take a closer look at 5 types of narcissistic enablers you should watch out for. 1. The enabler who excuses narcissistic behavior. One of the most common types of narcissistic enablers is the one who excuses the narcissistic behavior of the person in question. These enablers will often make excuses for the narcissist's negative behavior or downplay the severity of their actions. They may even go so far as to blame the victim for the narcissist's behavior, which can be incredibly damaging and hurtful. Excusing narcissistic behavior is one of the most harmful types of enabling. When someone excuses a narcissist's behavior, they are essentially giving them permission to continue acting in harmful and toxic ways. This type of enabler often makes excuses for the narcissist's negative behavior by saying things like, "That's just how they are," or "They didn't mean it like that." This kind of behavior is dangerous because it normalizes toxic behavior and allows it to continue unchecked. Another way that this type of enabler excuses narcissistic behavior is by downplaying the severity of the narcissist's actions. They may say things like, "It's not that bad," or "You are overreacting." This kind of minimizing can be incredibly damaging to the victim, as it invalidates their feelings and makes them feel like they are somehow to blame for the narcissist's behavior. Blaming the victim for the narcissist's behavior is yet another harmful tactic that this type of enabler may use. They may say things like, "You are too sensitive," or "You brought this on yourself." This kind of victim blaming is incredibly damaging and can cause the victim to feel isolated and alone. It's important to remember that no one deserves to be treated poorly and that the narcissist is responsible for their own action. In order to break free from this type of enabling, it's important to set clear boundaries and hold the enabler accountable for their behavior. It may also be helpful to seek support from a therapist or support group who can help validate your feelings and provide guidance on how to deal with the enabler. Remember that you deserve to be treated with respect and dignity, and that it's okay to cut toxic people out of your life in order to protect yourself from harm. 2. The enabler who participates in narcissistic behavior. Another type of narcissistic enabler is the one who actively participates in the narcissist's toxic behavior. This could be a friend who joins in on the gossip or a family member who gaslights the victim. These enablers often enjoy the feeling of power they get from being part of the narcissist's inner circle and may even feel validated by the narcissist's behavior. 3. The enabler who is codependent. Codependent enablers are those who enable narcissistic behavior because they have an unhealthy attachment to the narcissist. They may feel like they need the narcissist in their life or that they can't survive without them. This codependency often makes it difficult for the enabler to set boundaries or hold the narcissist accountable for their behavior. Codependent enablers are often motivated by a deep-seated need for validation and approval from the narcissist. They may feel like they are responsible for the narcissist's happiness, and that their own worth is tied to the success and well-being of the narcissist. This can make it difficult for the enabler to stand up to the narcissist or challenge their behavior, as they fear that doing so will result in rejection or abandonment. This type of enabling can be incredibly damaging to the enabler, as it reinforces their own sense of powerlessness and dependency on the narcissist. Over time, the enabler may come to feel trapped in the relationship, unable to assert their own needs and desires. This can lead to a cycle of resentment and anger, as the enabler becomes increasingly frustrated with the narcissist's behavior but feels powerless to change it. In order to break free from the cycle of codependent enabling, it's important for the enabler to recognize their own worth and value, independent of the narcissist. This may involve seeking therapy or other forms of support to help with self-esteem and assertiveness skills. It may also involve setting clear boundaries with the narcissist and holding them accountable for their behavior, even if it means risking rejection or abandonment. 4. The enabler who is in denial. Some enablers are in denial about the narcissist's behavior, either because they don't want to believe it or because they don't want to deal with the consequences of acknowledging it. These enablers may ignore evidence of the narcissist's negative behavior or make excuses for it, even when it's clear that the behavior is harmful. Enablers in denial may also engage in cognitive dissonance, which is the mental discomfort that arises when holding to conflicting beliefs or values. In the case of enabling a narcissist, the enabler may hold the belief that the narcissist is a good person who loves and cares for them, while also recognizing that the narcissist's behavior is harmful and toxic. This conflict can be difficult to resolve, and the enabler may choose to ignore or minimize evidence of the narcissist's behavior in order to reduce the discomfort of cognitive dissonance. This type of enabling can be particularly damaging, as it can prevent the narcissist from getting the help they need to change their behavior. By denying or minimizing the severity of the narcissist's behavior, the enabler is essentially enabling them to continue acting in harmful ways. It can also be damaging to the enabler, as it can lead to feelings of confusion, self-doubt, and isolation. 5. The enabler who is passive. Finally, there are enablers who enable the narcissist's behavior simply by doing nothing. They may see the negative behavior but choose to not get involved or to speak up. This passivity can be just as damaging as actively participating in narcissist behavior, as it allows the behavior to continue unchecked. So what you can do if you are dealing with a narcissistic enabler? The first step is to recognize the behavior for what it is and to set boundaries for yourself. This might mean limiting your contact with the enabler or even cutting them out of your life altogether. It's also important to seek support from people who understand what you are going through, whether that's a therapist, a support group, or trusted friends and family members. Ultimately, dealing with narcissistic enablers can be challenging. But it's important to remember that you have the power to take control of the situation and protect yourself from the harmful effects of narcissistic behavior. By recognizing these 5 types of enablers and watching out for them, you can start to take steps towards healing and creating a healthier, happier life for yourself.